things considered, would be reasonably happy to only be 11 points down as we get set for the second term. Sudden death, 7 VFL finals footy.
Michael Hartley into the ruck as Trent Minot has an air swing. Laguda. Minot goes off the ground once again. Sotomarco stripped. Myers makes better contact to that footy. Gets through Bowman, who's been shifted forward. Coughlin swept onto it. The kick will work its way back in to hug the line. McNeese, before he found his way out, got boot to ball. Plenty of flyers. Nielsen with a fist. Not surprisingly, Campbell Brown, given the torrent of rain that came down, they were very, very short huddles at quarter time for both teams.
Yeah, nothing worse than standing around trying to keep yourself warm. You just want to get back out there and get moving around again. The second quarter started and both coaches would have been relatively happy with how their sides structured up and played in that first term.
No way free for Jordan Ridley. Let's head to Lauren Arnell. Braving the conditions was in Mark Williams' quarter-time huddle.
Oh, well, the rain is belting down, guys, and true to Melbourne form, it's spring and they've already had to turn the lights on before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Choco was really happy with Ryan Hebron winning the footy at halfback and using it well, and just reiterated to his players how important it is to stay on top within the stoppages. Happy coach so far at Werribee.
Aaron Heppel receives the free kick, got one over the shoulder there from Sotomarco as he rolled his shoulders through the tackle. Skipper kick 4 last week, was sensational. 26 touches, 4 goals, runs to 50, gives it everything he's got. Is it there? I think it is. It's a goal.
Could be this year's Dylan Moore, just bobbing up and kicking goals when the team needs it. Dylan Moore, yeah, from the Hawks.
He could be this year's Roger Moore, the new James Bond.
Outstanding kick there from Heppel. The place was claiming that he got fingers on that, but the umpire, no doubt, paid the goal, and this man keeps bobbing up and kicking goals when his club needs it the most.
And no arc in VFL. I'll tell you, the arc we need today is Noah's.
Refuge required at Adcon Stadium. Good goal from Heppel to get the Bombers back within 5 points. Diving handball, Hansen missed the target of Sotomarco. Thundering through Union, won't get a stat, but cleared a path for Clark.
That's some of your best work, Chase. I really
It's
like
not saying
that.
much. You're coming off a low base.
Lights on at Adcon Stadium. We saw Heath Hocking there claiming that that ball had worked its way off the boot of Nick Coughlin, and that is a thankless task. No one braving the area in front of the cricket nets here. Here's the replay. That has come off the boot of Coughlin for mine, Campbell Brown.
He glanced the boot. Boundary umpire was right there.
So Bombers trying to regain the lead here. Schultz tugged on Minot. Long gets boot to ball. Needs it to arc its way back. Left it does! Divine physics.
Playing with real energy, Jake Long, the last couple of weeks. He was good down in Geelong in round 21. He was superb last week in the qualifying final.
Yeah.
What?
This is a dress rehearsal.
Jakey Long, out of nowhere from this stoppage, just throws it on the right boot and it sails through. He's been terrific the last couple of weeks, playing with plenty of energy. We saw him play well down in Geelong in round 21, the last home and away game, and he was superb again last week in the qualifying final loss.
As this rain continues to intensify, socket off the deck from Hartley. Bombers have got the momentum at the moment. That one's socket away by Pinnock. He made 2 good contact with that. Sailed over the line on the full, and Ridley will have it. So the Bombers have managed to run down Werribee's lead early. 2 goals in the first 3 minutes to hit the front. As Ridley hugs the line, Hartley worked off his man, got fingers to it.
Well, they hardly won a clearance in the first quarter, and already in this second term, it hasn't been going long, but they won a centre clearance, and Heppel got a goal out of that, and then the outstanding work from Jake Long.
5 zip clearances in the second term, Essendon.
And in wet conditions, I mean, it's always important to win games of footy, but boundary throwing has gone awfully short. You need to put a little bit more energy into that, son. The boundary, but the clearances are crucial. North Port Oval's a small ground, winning it out of the middle and immediately getting it deep forward inside 50s.
And the wind has turned. It's blowing towards the broadcast side at the moment. It's blowing straight towards our cameras. Maishman, little give. Quick kick ends up in the arms of Pinnock. Barlow bends it across his body. Finds Munro has been quiet. Just the one touch for him so far. Jock dispossessed. Here's Brew, wants to take on Myers, ends up throwing his boot at it to prevent getting a free kick against him. Henderson slapped it forward. Clark was taken in a tackle. Bennett soccers off the deck. Laguda tackled by Bennett. Ball spills forward. It's still there for the Bombers. Begley goes hunting it. Nielsen taken down by Houlihan. Hocking in over the top. And it's a reversal of the opening term. Now it's Werribee having to desperately scrap and scramble in their own defensive 50.
They're happy just soccering the ball forward, locking it inside their forward 50 with good defensive pressure.
We've had 4 lead changes so far. Lant came through, not able to extract that off the ground with good contact was Hansen. Sees it all the way to the line, and now it's Werribee trying to hunt for some territory. Louis Pinnock on screen, playing his 18th game of the VFL season. He grew up on a dairy farm up in Strathmerton in northern Victoria. Dan Jordan braving the conditions to coach from the boundary. Clark getting busy around the clearances. Nielsen taking advantage of Begley's.
Well, that's good leadership from the coach too, saying I'm out here in these conditions with you to the players.
No option but to try and keep it that Normgos stand side. Minot's attempt to mark was not able to be successful. Lant maybe almost had claims on the free. Barlow just dabbed the handball to Gribble, who has been quiet so far.
Just like Lauren Arnell, who's out there leading the 7 VFL team from the front. Loz, tell us about the conditions. This rain looks to have intensified.
Oh, it's pretty heavy rain, Jason, and it's very, very cold. That wind, I think, is impacting. It seems like we've got an obvious scoring end. You mentioned Tom Gribble's been quiet. He spent the first 6 minutes of this quarter on the bench and just desperate to come on. He's finally found his opportunity.
Yeah, Barlow's been busy. He has had 9. Hansen's had 9. Clayton 8. But Gribble so far, just the 2 touches. He's averaging 30 a game this season. They need him to get involved. Socket off the deck by Munro, was smothered.
And that's the reason why Werribee are going 25% kicking efficiency this quarter, because most of their disposals have been sockers off the ground to no one in particular, just trying to get territory.
Hartley now is doing the ruck work up against Clark. It spills to McKenna. He hoisted inside 50. Ridley couldn't quite hang on. Eunan's there, puts the head down, tries to break through the Coughlin and Spencer tackle, but nothing doing there for Dan Eunan.
If there's any player out there that would be loving these conditions, it's Heath Hocking. Built for wet weather finals footy.
Hold the meter.
Clark against Clark in the ruck. Lant lays the tackle on Sotomarco. We'll do it all again. So quick goals to the Bombers, 2 of them early in this second term, give them the lead in this cutthroat semi-final. Williamstown await next week.
Might have been a high one.
Guess who, Don Brew? This is a man that would prefer to tackle than get his hands on the footy sometimes. He lays more tackles than some people get disposals.
Liam McKenna had the look of someone working as an actor on a Hot Shots movie then by flinging the head back before contact had been made.
Bruce had 4 tackles and 2 touches.
And there he is again, there's 5.
5 tackles and 2 disposals.
Look at him wrap his legs around with the MMA sort of
UFC stuff that we've spoken about previously.
Type tackle. Doesn't just tackle with his arms, the legs get involved.
Tackles with his mind.
He does.
Leads the league in chokeholds and tackles. Bombers work it through into that right forward pocket. So Bombers trying to rectify losing to Casey in a preliminary final last year after finishing 8th in the home and away season. Werribee finished 5th at the end of the home and away season with an 11-7 record. Took the defending champs Box Hill out last Sunday. Now trying to give Essendon a straight sets exit. As Tynan gathers, kick was smothered. Finding it Laguda. Touch, but the required distance won't matter. Now a chance for Gribble to get involved. Look at that kick just hold up in the breeze. It'll drop vertical as Zerk Thatcher takes a big bite out of it with a fist. Gribble was really ready to swing and then thought better of it. And suddenly, Essendon playing this game on their terms, virtually with Werribee's preferred style.
And real physicality as well, Essendon.
McKenna's getting stuck into Gribble. Has he given one away there to Kemp? He has.
On report for striking.
And on report.
Hold. Start the ball. Start the ball.
I'll stay here.
So Liam McKenna in the book. Let's have another look. Jumper punch.
Sorry? I'm not too sure.
Brownie, your thoughts? Bearing in mind this is a man who went to the tribunal 14 times, found guilty 13.
Oh, he's been reported. The umpire was right there and saw it clear as day. Probably a fine, reprimand.
What are you saying about Kemp?
He doesn't have a bad record.
He was consistent.
He had questionable representation.
Lionel Hutz didn't get the job
I
done.
started representing myself in the end.
As I said, questionable representation. You can't call yourself as a character witness. Here's McKenna. Straight back into the action. McNeese piles in over the top, and Liam McKenna's been a really important inclusion of this side. Missed with an ankle from round 9 all the way through to round 21. They brought him back for the qualifying final. It was his first game of footy since playing locally at July 20. Got through okay, and on a day like today, his big body is so critical for the Bombers.
Yeah, he loves the physicality, and the more stoppages, the
There he
more
goes
opportunities he gets to be involved. And he's just a bit overzealous at the moment. He's on report. He's still angry and fired up. He's giving away a free kick.
Gribble, Chips and Werribee have a rare entry inside forward 50 in this second quarter. Hand at it for D. Slap forward Munro. Picking up and handballing to the outside. Maishman receives from House. It bobbles around, fizzing through Henderson. There's Dom Brew with his big frame. Finally, it works its way to Clayton. That'll drop as well in the breeze. Maluel makes a contest. Nearly takes it away from Bowman. Couldn't get his way free, though. That would have been an amazing piece of play from your Maluel.
It came clearly off the Essendon hands. He went to ground. He couldn't throw his boot at that. And Essendon holding on.
Bagley stripped by Munro. This is to the right-hand side. We're tied at 26. The big flip in this term, clearances. Werribee 22-9 in the first term. The Bombers 9-2 so far in the second.
They're just hunting a little bit more around those stoppages. There's an energy in this quarter that wasn't there in the first term.
McNeese goes long, straight up the middle of the ground. Myers caught behind and infringes on Nielsen. They play on quickly. Gribble under pressure, just has to hack it forward. Heppel the front and centre, gives it off to Myers. He belts it back towards the middle of the ground, and Hebron just works his man, Houlihan underneath it, protects the drop zone. He delivers inside 50, punched away by Guccione. Munro keeps it alive.
Hebron's
momentarily.
defensive positioning's been superb. He's already taken a number of intercept marks, and it was so important last week that they sent a defensive forward to try and just drag him out and create a contest around Hebron.
Yeah, it really was one of their strengths last week, wasn't it? Their intercept marking across half-back, Werribee. They've got a number of good options down there. The likes of Hebron. DeClay spent some time down there. Spencer's a good defensive mark. Nielsen as well. And then they've got Coughlin and then a bunch of smalls to whisk it away. Really well-balanced back six. There's Brew. Gives it off. Pinnock towards the goal square. They come from all sides. And it ricochets through for a minor score. Here's Daniel Guccione.
Bombers with the only 2 goals of this quarter so far. They'll try and make a hasty exit. Lant there to receive. To the outside, Heppel. You can hear the volume go up in the Normgos stand as he was almost run down. A 2-on-2 at half forward. DeClace bobbled to the line. Ridley, interestingly, playing forward in this term for the Bombers, Brownie.
It's a funny one. He's probably spent the majority of his time on the Essendon list as a defender, but just happy to try some things over the last couple of weeks and find that key position forward that can take a couple of marks. And
7 of his 8 VFL goals this season. We'll head into the Essendon camp. Heath Hocking's been good enough to join us on the headset. Heath, a better second term as you've started to win it around the contest.
Yeah, obviously with the weather, we're just trying to get the ball forward and try to surge it a little bit. But no, to obviously Werribee's credit, they're staying in there and not much of a win, which is good. So for both ways, we're going to be able to do the same thing. So it's a good contest, enjoying it.
changing a few things up in the final series in terms of your forward line. We saw Hartley last week, and you're happy to throw the magnets around again today?
Yeah, I think we've shot Ridley forward there for a bit, so for us it's just about we compete when it goes forward, and we bring a contest, and obviously Werribee are a strong team in the contest, so that's where we're at.
Heath, as a senior player in this group, what was your role during the week? Obviously a really disappointing result last week, but a great performance, particularly for 3 quarters. How's the mood and the vibe in the team been this week?
Yeah, super positive. We played an absolutely great game for 3 quarters, and then we just let ourselves slip there for the last. And I think the last 10 minutes of the game last week was where we sort of thought our game where we actually played pretty well, and we're just unfortunate not to get the result.
Hock, be honest, do you love these conditions more than the dry?
A little bit. The ball gets down on the ground a bit more, and it's been in the contest for me, and the quickness is gone, so we're just trying to get down there and enjoy the weather.
Well, Heath, you did sign up with the Linda in the AFL Outer East this season. I think they had snow on their ground at one stage this year, so these are conditions to suit. This is positively balmy for you. We'll let you get back into the action.
No worries, boys, thanks.
Heath Hocking good enough to join us on the headset there. 2 behinds in the opening quarter.
Yeah, golden opportunity missed then from Essendon too, just strolling in 15 metres out, and missed everything.
Ball spills out of bounds.
That was a genuine chance.
There's Matt D, who announced his retirement during the week.
Thank you.
A great servant of Richmond and then Essendon. 70 AFL games, 76 VFL games. Would love to go out with a premiership.
Play on. No.
To get there, they've got to go through Werribee this week, then Williamstown next week.
These guys, same rucks.
The other semi-final already been set. It's Richmond and Port Melbourne, and what a matchup that's going to be next weekend. And 1 preliminary final. Gribble's handball over the top. Long couldn't control it. Henderson goes hunting the football, takes Aylett out. Tynan slid over the top. Begley snaps it inside 50. Hebron at the front position. Harassed by Ridley. It spills to McKenna. Tries to bust through the Maceman tackle. And then in over the top comes McFarlane with the tackle.
Again, it was the positioning of Hebron. He's taking that front position, still having contact though with your direct opponent is outstanding defensive work.
Werribee holding the man.
Hartley doing his stint as the backup ruckman. Gives away a free kick on this occasion to Darcy Bennett, the 22-year-old from Lara. He gives it off quickly.
Handballs for fun whenever he can. Zerk Thatcher planted the feet, got good elevation. Sotomarco will take some ground. There's 3 Bombers and Maluel. Maluel can gather, but good pressure from McNeese to strip him. We'll feature on Bior Maluel and his journey at half-time. Coming out of Airport West, where he was a premiership player last year in the 2nd division of the Essendon District Football League. Bennett and Hartley. Hartley on the 2nd attempt. No space to be given there for Dane McFarlane, playing off half-back this afternoon for the Tigers. And a couple of touches so far. So Josh Clayton with 10 so far for the Tigers. Ben McNeese, 11 for the Bombers to lead all comers. All kicks so far for McNeese.
A couple of quick goals in the first 3 minutes to the Bombers. Since then, it's been a real stalemate. No one able to score. Aylett ran into traffic, going nowhere. It's Kurt Aylett, former Werribee player. Spent 3 years with the Tigers before crossing back to Essendon this season. Goes through his hands, sliding in was Brew. That's below the knee contact, and that's a free kick to Lant. And they're the ones we do agree with, Brownie, when you do slide in like that.
We saw a couple Friday night, Paddy Dangerfield, that there was some conjecture around because he just went low and hard at the footy, but that's a no-brainer, that one. Don Brew just slid in and clearly took out the legs.
Hebron couldn't control it. Same went for Begley. Nielsen has his big frame over the football. He's being harassed. It's flipped out in the Brew direction. Somehow found the space to swing his boot at it and get it back towards the wing. Punched away by McNeese, and Aylett and Gribble will see it to the line. Lauren Arnell.
We've seen the rain dry up just a little bit in the last 5 minutes or so. The water's still pretty comfortably sitting on the surface, so that means the footy's going to be a little bit like a cake of soap until perhaps the end of this first half. But if the rain holds off, we might see some drier, cleaner conditions in the 3rd quarter.
Aylett takes it from the stoppage. Bagley, Noonan slipped through. Pinnock taken down. McKenna over the football. Clayton tried to bust through the Union tackle, and we saw, Brandy, you talked about stoppage craft then. Really interesting. Dylan Clark left his man, blocked Don Brew, Essendon win the stoppage. It's that sort of selfless play around these stoppages just to loosen up a man.
Yeah, there's going to be so many stoppages today that you're going to get a lot of opportunities to to try those sort of things and help a teammate.
Aylett worked the kick forward, or Bowman was in position A and then just lost the footing against the body contact from Nielsen.
A lot of these guys are so good around clearances and stoppages that all they need is a half a metre. So if you can just somehow create that by putting in a block for someone getting tagged, get around the back.
And the time on in this second quarter, Werribee without a goal since Jake Riccardi kicked his second at the 29-minute mark of the opening quarter. Brew relishing the contest. Begley, Aylett, Heppel, gets boots a ball, plenty of carry on it as well. De Clace is camped at the back here as the goalkeeper for the Tigers. Union in the contest lurking, as is Clark. Nielsen puts his big frame in the way and then is tackled across the line.
Thanks, guys.
So Werribee with a 1-point advantage after they led by 11 at quarter time. Goals for the Bombers to Heppel and Long inside the first 3 minutes. It's been the dour struggle since these heavy wet conditions. Clayton lost his footing and receives a free kick for his troubles.
That one just slipping over the shoulder for Josh Clayton. Spent a couple of years on the Brisbane Lions list, in fact 3, 15 to 17, then went to Southport last year, won a premiership with them up on the Gold Coast. Son of Scott Clayton, the former Fitzroy player and AFL recruit who's been around for many, many years. McFarlane, off comes Hartley. That was a little agricultural. Here's another look.
I think that's called making someone earn it.
That's
swinging
if
around.
you're making a DVD of making someone earn it, that'd be the highlight. Gribble. Hands was a little too fierce for Kemp. Spits out of the pack in the Heppel direction. He can't get purchase on the kick. Chance for Hebron coming the other way. He soccers off the ground. Clayton couldn't control it. It's there for Aylett. He looked to feed it backwards towards Myers. He's beaten to it by Gribble. Sotomaco takes some territory. Ridley cuts it off. David Myers, 5 touches so far, been quiet.
So Jordan Ridley's time up forward didn't last too long. He's been thrown down in his customary defensive position now.
Spencer at the front. Darcy Bennett taken down. Hebron got the hands free. Tries to feed it to Henderson. Works the boundary line, runs into Begley, and out it goes once again. So Werribee by a point. Essendon got the jump early in the second term. 2 goals in 3 minutes. But since then, the Tigers have stabilised the situation.
Yeah, we're not seeing exciting, free-flowing football at the moment, but it's an intriguing, contested battle.
Steady but not heavy rain falling. The wind has stopped significantly here as well as Barlow can gather, keep the hands free. Clayton missed it. Aylett sweeps through. Tynan set upon, somehow got it to D. He punts the kick forward. Nielsen, Bowman for nuisance value, running around at Houlihan. Man on the outside in Heppel, again, just takes it forward. Darting out the back, Bagley, traps it, snaps. Best result apart from a goal is out of bounds for a throw-in. Mark Bagley, brilliant crumb in the opening term to kick a goal for the Bombers. And David Myers, who plays his 50th VFL game today, trying to lengthen their careers.
23.5 gone second term, Adcon Stadium at Northport. Great to have you with us on 7 VFL finals footy. This is an old-fashioned sudden death final. Just roll up the sleeves and do what you can to win. And that's going to help. Laguda throws it on the boot for a goal. Pretty much.
Long, definitely. Who kicked the other one? Set shot. That was the set shot there. But certainly those two
Just
from
take your
stoppages
chances
as well.
Yep.
They're not even half chances because they're harder than that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's his first goal of the season, second of his career. Bruno Laguda, second goal of his career, his first of the season.
And outstanding bit of ruck work as well from a non-recognised ruckman. Hartley just tapped it over the back. That's where the dangerous space is. And Laguda, like Long earlier in this quarter, have just thrown it on the boot and they've kicked a couple of terrific goals.
Our 6th lead change.
No, play on.
Maluel's tackled by the most recent goal kicker in Laguda.
And that was the difference yesterday, Jason, the game we did. the opposite of Port were able to just manufacture a couple of goals out of nowhere.
Well, they just took their chances, didn't they? And Footscray frittered theirs.
You're not going to get too many marks, set shots inside the forward 50 and perfect plays, run and carry and overlap. It's got to be manufactured like Laguta's goal just then.
Essendon with 5 more inside 50s and a 5-point advantage. Clark off the ground. Bagley through his legs again, just couldn't get a heel to it. Works back towards it. Laguta got a hand in on Barlow to strip him or at least stop him somewhat. Spencer can gather. His kick is high. Fist will come from long. In the end, it was an air swing, but at least they put the clamps on Gribble. He's not having the influence they'd like. 8 touches so far for Tom Gribble.
They've really been into him too, haven't they, Nudge? They've been verbaling him a lot, targeting him a little bit. He's their main man, number 1 in the competition for disposals and inside 50s. So far, they're doing a good job shutting him down. Myers flips it out. Long gains a bit of territory. It skids on the wet grass towards Begley. He can't control it. Good pressure again from Ryan Hebron. It's Josh Begley, 8 AFL games this season.
Same again, guys.
Very rarely do you win games of footy, let alone finals, if you're not the toughest team out there on the park. And Essendon have got it in them. They're more known for their run and carry and creativity side of play, but certainly today they're prepared to roll the sleeves up, identify someone like Tom Gribble and go after him.
Minot gets a bit of territory and then thumps it long. Begley against Nielsen. It spills to Clayton. Hocking in there as well. Little handball over the top from Spencer was a little speculative. Hanson there to try and tidy it up, and Bagley takes him over the line. It's Matt Hanson. He's had 9 touches so far this afternoon. As the rain clears a little, it's still raining, but more just spitting at the moment. It was really belting down earlier in the term. Heath Hocking takes it to the line. Loz, has it calmed the conditions a little bit?
Oh, it's absolutely calmed down. It's still a little bit drizzly, but as we said earlier, just expect by the end of half-time it should dry up a fair bit for this second half.
Clark over the top, down to Jock. The pilot on top again. That ball's not coming out. Loz, what have you made of the second term?
Look, I think it's just been seesaw. I think Werribee were lucky to take their chance earlier, but Essendon have dominated, particularly, as you said, guys, around the stoppages. They've just stepped up their intensity and put that really hard work into players like Tom Gribble.
Manuel dribbles it towards the line. Hanson saw again.
Tom Jock, great story. Made his debut round 23 against the Pies, and he got plenty of the footy and took some marks, but the one number that jumped off the page for me, he ran 15.5 kilometres in that game of footy. In his first game of football, he is an aerobic animal, and that's just going to improve the more he plays and the more mature his body gets.
He's a real prospect, isn't he?
That's
such raw talent.
Well, that's ridiculous numbers. That's in his first game of footy, ran 500 metres further than any other player out there on the ground. It just shows you how hard he works.
In modern football, to have that sort of tank, it's something you can really build around as a competitive advantage. As Bennett's run down from behind, umpire says just over the shoulder against Minot, who thought he was a chance to get a shot at goal. Just slipped high, and Joel Bennett escapes for Werribee.
And that's gone an early whistle. Players a little bit confused. Hocking continues to play the ball. McFarlane, quick kick forward. Works its way to Myers, who double and triple grabs. Laguta, he can't find a way out. Brew. Zerk Thatcher gets those long arms out to it, spun the full 360. Lauren Arnell, Matt Hanson was injured in the second half last week. He's caught one here in the second.
Looks like he's tweaked a right ankle. He's trying to jog it off. The medical team from Werribee trying to get to him, but it's hard to tell whether he's going to come on or off because he's just walking in different directions at the moment.
Tom Jock
all the
landing.
weight of Jock going over the top of that ankle for Hanson is long. Kicks one forward, almost a hand to it for Bagley. Safe fist.
You both engaging
from
originally,
Hebron. Sees it over the line and out. So margin at 5. All 3 goals in this quarter the way of the Bombers. Bowman and Clark to do the ruck work. Through the legs. Munro punted it wide. Be a high kick from House. Eventually over the line and out.
16 Werribee players all just in the defensive 50, just holding on for this half-time siren to sound. A few are running out now, structuring up.
So can the Bombers manufacture something here? Can they peel off and create space? It was the problem Werribee had in the first term. Dylan Clark got a boot to it but couldn't get any purchase. Clayton put his head over the top of it. Laguda tries to pick it up and bust out, but Clayton takes him down and chews up some more time.
Thanks, mate. Same again, guys. Yep.
Clark. Hartley swung at it. Here's Hocking, somehow found some space, got boot to ball. Bowman against Nielsen. Coughlin at ground level. Nielsen slaps it out. Here's Hocking, a chance, a fumble. Pressure comes. Minot throws it on the boot. It's touched off his boot. Coughlin, little handball towards the pocket. It's still there for the Bombers. In goes Gribble and they get it to the line. Heart and Mount stuff there for Werribee.
Yeah, McKenna was hunting too. He was just sweating on a mistake from Werribee. They got it across the boundary line.
Clark, McFarlane, Coughlin, feeds it out. Clayton gains a bit of territory. Henderson paddles in one direction. Hartley soccers in the other. At rebound to him. This time he picks it up and throws a boot at it. Off the hands of McFarlane. Sliding in and going down. Taken by Hocking. He kicks towards the goal square. Bagley, one-on-one, loses his feet while Spencer keeps his. Well played, and then well done by Jock to keep it in the zone for the Bombers.
Great bit of defensive work. Just keeps the pressure on Werribee rather than them getting a clearing kick to the wing. Now they've got to structure up again defensively and hold on.
It's been a cool presence in defence today. Max Spencer for the Tigers. There's a bit happening off the footy as Jock's trying to clear a path. Hartley and Clark in the ruck. Hartley hacks it forward. Hebron shinned it. Laguda lurking. Can't get it through Clayton. Clark there as well, just to chip it off the ground. It's like watching the midfielders at the moment. They're like bat pad fieldsmen appealing for every nick that's coming. Hope you're enjoying this one at 7 VFL, Twitter or Facebook if you want to interact with the coverage. Don't forget the 7+ app for all the replays of recent matches. Myers tackled strongly to the ground. Brule merges. Campbell Brown's love of this man only going up as the contest continues. What an afternoon he's having. 4 possessions. It'll be 8 tackles so far.
Not often someone doubles their possession to tackle tally.
He loves these conditions. He's right at home, Brew. Tynan taken down by Kemp. We'll have another ball up.
Guys, let it go.
Hartley the tap down to Minot. We'll do it all again. 5-point lead to the Bombers. 33 minutes gone. Going to be long quarters again this afternoon with all these stoppages. Myers boots it forward through the hands of Hebron. At the back is Bagley, 60 from home, bends it across the body. Front position is House, who's gone into defence. Hocking gets rid of Nielsen. But once again, Werribee play the percentages and happy to just work it to the line.
May have seen, just as play was moving from right to left of screen, then an ambulance just next to the Normgos stand. We're told a patron had slipped at the base of the stairs. They're being seen to at the moment for a hip injury, we're told. No other cause for concern, so we hope that patron is okay and able to be whisked off for further assessment as Trent Minot heads for the bench.
The blood rule was called. Plenty of collateral damage on players as they're throwing themselves into every single contest.
9 touches, 6 contested possessions so far for the man from Roval and Eastern Rangers, Caulfield Grammar. Clark and Hartley in the ruck as they have been for most of the term. Myers, Heppel, inventive, forward off hands to Clace, able to claim the mark.
Just always plays that role, doesn't he? He's the designated deepest defender.
Last line.
Like in junior footy, you just position someone in the defensive goal square, and the amount of marks he's taken this week and last week, enormous. Plays that role really well.
Certain players just can read the play so well, and he always puts himself between the goals and where the ball's coming from, and quite often impacts.
Clayton fashions a kick. Zirk Thatcher a fumble, and here comes Maishman.
Throw it in. Throw it in. That should have been holding the footy.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Long quarter.
What is it? Watch out.
Zirk Thatcher's just dodged a bullet there.
Couldn't dodge Maishman.
Took the tackler on, and even though the boundary did come, that's prior opportunity gone.
Clark and Hartley tugging at each other's jumpers. Hanson dispossessed. Clayton couldn't get an effective kick. Hanson feeds it out towards Pinnock. Ball underneath him. McKenna just carries the pack with him about 5 metres. He is a bull, isn't he, Liam McKenna?
Like a rugby scrum.
It was. He had guys hanging off him everywhere.
Tavita Pangai Jr. sort of set up from the Broncos.
Hartley.
Kicking danger.
Werribee ball.
Werribee.
Approached the 36-minute mark of the second term. Josh Clayton, high ball. Zirk Thatcher underneath it. Takes the mark.
One last chance for the Bombers. Myers keeps that kick low, searching for a lead. That's a big stop from Coughlin. Kick is shallow and wide. It'll get on the second bounce to Nielsen. His handball over the top for Hanson, who's recovered from earlier on. They're messing around with this here, the Tigers. Clayton back to Nielsen. 36 minutes.
One of these teams this season, and a ticket to the prelim final for the other as we get set for the second half. Hartley's in the ruck against Clark. Clark won the secondary tap. Coming in off the line was Munro. Socket forward by Hartley. Here's a chance for Maishman, met solidly by Unan. Slapped on by Heppel. Here's a chance for Barlow. He's met solidly by Bagley. Stood up on the bump and delivered it to Munro.
And he's got the wind knocked out of him too, Michael Barlow, in that contest.
Munro for Riccardi, who kicked 2 to this end in the opening quarter, over the line and out. 10 to Lauren Arnell, who was in the Essendon camp at half-time.
It was pretty hush in the rooms, guys. Very smart players changing into dry and newer jumpers, because if you keep the wet ones on for this second half, it won't be very friendly. One thing to note, Matt Hanson started on the bench for Werribee after we saw he rolled his ankle in that second quarter.
Minot's got the head tape on after that cut earlier on. Myers has lost the long sleeve, sends it forward. Bombers have numbers, but they all worked forward of the contest as Bagley goes to ground. Nielsen v Heppel, that's a marquee matchup. In goes Myers, desperately trying to extract it, he can't. Campbell Brown, you're in Mark Williams' halftime message. What was it?
He's dropped the tags. They want to go man-on-man around the stoppages. He implored his players for more of a surge mentality. Just get the ball going forward. He thought they over-handballed in that first half. They had 30 more handballs than Essendon. And he just said, throw it on your boot and let's get the ball going forward.
Any particular inspiration at halftime for Werribee?
He just wants his players to really believe that they're a chance to get through and extend their season.
Tennis serve from Hartley. Bagley. Barlow had got his leg ready and then thought better of it. Angus Clark can't work his way free. Neither can Maishman. Somehow spit its way to Sotomaco. Tigers will get it inside 50. Riccardi over the top. McNeese at the fall. Ridley. No option but to kick it towards Barlow, who just dabbed it towards Maishman, who miscues.
He'd be disappointed with that, Maishman. He's a goal kicker, and he had a really good look there. Dry footy, straightened up and just kicked it off the instep.
Jordan Ridley from the back pocket. Gets it outside 50. Nielsen's just going to take an uncontested mark and put it back inside 50 with a low kick, but it missed Riccardi. Skids past a couple and finds its way to Guccione. He hoists it high. Hartley will get a fly at this. Was he taken out? Play on the call. Bowman casting the roll of a rover. Gets it to Heppel, who kicks it to us. It'll land on the commentary box roof. Yeah, the high ball's not my thing, Brownie.
Michael Hartley definitely got taken out by Nielsen in that marking contest, so unlucky not to get a free kick.
Towards half forward. Tim House. De Clace. Heppel. Dragged down as he kicked it. Pinnock can't quite keep it alive. And it is an emerging story. If Matt Hanson isn't available in this second half, he's been prominent, 11 touches in the first half. They'll miss him if he's unable to come back.
And that's the free kick I was talking about with Michael Hartley, just almost tunnelled in a way. Yeah, massive. In particular in that third quarter last week against Box Hill, he was the man that really got him going. 7 clearances, 11 touches and a goal in that quarter.
So Clark gets it forward to 2-on-2 inside forward 50. Hebron read it best. Coming through Hocking. Jock.
Hold the ball.
Again, it's Nick Coughlin stopping the Bombers in their tracks. Wants to come off his line quickly. Barlow, who's recovered from that knock. Sliding down goes Clark. Premiership player with Norwood back in 2012 in the Sandful. Maluel at the drop. Munro, he was ready to go. De Clace mops up. Ridley chopped off the handball. Again, off the side of the boot. Out of bounds on the full. There's a gravitational pull at the moment towards the Ingle Street side.
Michael Barlow has it.
Touch.
Just touched off the boot. McNeese almost hauls it in with the one hand. Here's Munro, danger. Henderson bends it back. It's not coming around enough. And that's the difference. Early in the second term, Essendon had similar opportunities, went bang, bang and kicked them. Werribee haven't quite been able to hit the target early in the third.
And that's going to be the difference. Whoever wins this game of football are just going to take those half chances and convert them into goals.
Straight up the middle from the kick in, Laguda takes the mark. He was one of the players who took one of those half chances in the second term. Little touch kick finds Myers at defensive 50.
It's the first time we've seen this afternoon from Essendon.
The rain has stopped at the moment. That's a beautifully weighted kick for Jock to run onto. And again, they change the angles to Laguda. They're playing some drive with the football. This is the Essendon game. Laguda spears it towards half forward, and Lauren Arnell with the rain just easing up and the ground such great drainage, the Bombers actually able to play a bit of drive with the footy there.
Absolutely. We see David Myers showing what he does best, that left foot wheeling there and just hitting up a target. Those are the things we missed in the first half, which I think we'll see a lot more of in this second half.
So Werribee with 6 inside 50s already in the quarter. The Bombers a couple. Brew gets good purchase on that spiral and creates a foot race. It skids straight, D down to it, goes straight to his knees. Handball free for McNeese. He's surrounded by Tigers. Well done. Back to the corridor for Zerk Thatcher. Kick on the half volley. Minot cannot wriggle his way free. Barlow's attempt at handball for Brew. Minot gathers, did well while kneeling. Off to Myers with the banana. Uses the breeze. Hocking! One hand if you don't mind.
Brilliant bit of play. That whole passage of play. They were outnumbered. He looks in board and finds a better target. Man that you certainly know can get the journey, and he opened up the face, but they won the tough 50-50s at half-back in the middle of the ground. Hocking with a bit of individual brilliance, one-handed mark, immediately looked inside and saw David Myers, who could probably hit this with a little 7-iron and will still go the required 50.
He can thump at David Myers. That slightly heavier wet footy to help. 13-5 for the season. Miscues off to the left-hand side. Misses everything.
It's a bad miss. On a day like today where marks inside 50 have been so hard to come by, that's a genuine opportunity for David Myers gone begging.
Great to see Matt Hansen back into the game. He has that long kick out towards the wing for Munro. Tackled by Guccione. Sliding in there was Gribble. Tried to hook up with House. Numbers coming in from all sides. Dylan Clark flips it over the top and Hansen comes face to face with Lauren Arnell. There's Luke Ball. Dylan Shield there. Bombers looking to extend their season. Werribee coming off their first finals win as a standalone club in 21 years. Can go deep into September. Touched off the boot of Sotomaco, past Riccardi and Munro and out. So now the tactical side of the game, Lauren Arnell and Campbell Brown changes. The conditions have changed. Teams now need to adapt and play a different style.
Well, you just go back to playing, I suppose, normal football. And we saw that with Essendon. Really bold kicking into the middle of the ground from their kick in, and they've started to take a few marks and play their natural way, and so will Werribee now.
Darcy Bennett back into the ruck for the Tigers. Look at Heppel and Sotomaco just on pause, metres from the contest. Kurt Aylett enjoying the battle against his former side. Hartley doing great work in the ruck. Barlow, brilliant execution of tackle by Liam McKenna. What a pickup he's been, averaging 18 touches, 5 tackles, 4 inside 50s. Just his 8th VFL game today, but
1 metre, 1 metre.
been a solid 8.
Hold 1 metre.
Played his footy locally with Templestowe in the Eastern Football League this year.
Me.
Slow play here from the Bombers for D.
Thanks, Tom. Move along, play on. You.
Patient, but Hanson reading it best. Keeps it moving. Can pop the handball over the top to Sotomaco. He'll send the kick high, flying from the back. Attempting was House, but outstanding from the other 14, Ridley. Free kick, though, will go the way of the Bombers.
Goes to Guccione for the push. Pushes the kick wide. Coming out to meet it was Hartley. Couldn't take the mark. Gathered off the deck. High up and under kick from Aylett. They come from all sides. It spills to ground from Minot. Myers, Lant. Looking to get it over the back of the Werribee defence. Spencer tracks it back. Got a couple to beat. Here's the dangerous Danny Unan. Tries to get around Nielsen. Attacks the goal square. Goes to a one-on-one. Coughlin at the front. Hocking at the back.
Two back, guys. Goal square, Essendon. Goal square. Oh, yeah, good time. I'll see ya.
A floating kick to the top of the goal square from Danny Unan, and Heath Hocking just with the strength, worked his Werribee defender under the footy, got out the back, and Heath Hocking kicks the first goal of the second half.
And gives the Bombers their biggest lead of the afternoon in a low-scoring affair. Ridley important with his drive from the back. Off some hands. Houlihan maybe with a jumper tug, and then cops a strong tackling effort from McFarlane. Keeps the ball alive, though. Land, he stumped as he attempts to kick. Bennett off to Spencer. Not much on that ball. Hanson tests the ankle. Riccardi lost his man, Zerk Thatcher, who lost his footing in the end. It worked for Zerk Thatcher. He's tackled by Kemp. Support at the back in the form of Guccione. Wait under that, Michael Barlow. You will not wriggle free of Tynan. Essendon closing down the space for the Tigers. Dan Jordan's upgraded from the hat to the beanie. Liking what he's seen from his side since quarter time. Hartley read better by Hanson, who was just forced to kick it off the ground. Raguda, one of the goal kickers for the Bombers so far. Sotomaco gathered with one hand, handballed with the other, but sets Darcy Bennett a task. Bundled out of it by Hartley. Heppel went low to ground. Didn't make contact, so no free. Lant, Houlihan with a little outside hand pass to Heppel. Staying on pause was Coughlin. Doesn't see what's coming from the side. It was Unan and Laguda. Unan can gather, wants to find space, does. Bagley wriggling free. They keep rushing it forward, the Bombers. Myers, Aylett, skies one. That is barely the required distance. They might have measured the height and the length.
Great grab in the end. Werribee was so desperate, staying in every contest. The high ball went up and it was just Bagley. This is blindsided. Danny Uni probably should have gone the tackle instead of the bump, but I don't mind paying that. Right on 15.
So Mark Bagley kicked a brilliant crumbing goal to this end of the ground, the Fred Cook end. As Myers lurks, you can hear the umpire telling him to hold his protected area width. Bagley free second. Slides it right off the hands.
So Lauren Arnell, at the moment, things just starting to go Essendon's way. For Werribee, can start to tighten up. What do they need to do right now?
Well, we know the weather conditions suited Werribee in that first half. The game is a lot quicker now. Essendon getting on top and playing the style of footy that they want to. Werribee are just going to have to drive this footy forward, create the grunt opportunities that they did in that first half.
Hanson rode the bump, got it to Bennett. The Bombers are hunting them in numbers, though, and they win the football. Unan, it feels like a big ball to win that one. Bowman flipped over the top to Clark. Now Beckley. In comes Hanson, who is playing an enormous third term. At the moment, Werribee on the back foot, Brownie, all the momentum with Essendon.
You can see what they were trying to do then from the kicking, just get some overlap run and carry, but the frontal pressure from Essendon was just too great. They eventually turned the ball over.
And delicately poised at 11 points. Long came through, fed it forward. Here's Hansen again. Another touch for him, hugs the boundary line. Ridley, Kemp goes the spoil and gets it to the line. 11-point margin. The winner to progress to face Williamstown in the preliminary final next weekend. The other prelim already set. It's Richmond and Port Melbourne.
Williamstown, perennial preliminary finalists.
Bennett over the top. It's fed out towards Myers. Ran over the top of it. Henderson's pressure came in. Gribble flips it over the top. House, the little gift to Henderson, couldn't take it cleanly. He's bowled over by Clark. Handball towards the line. Good strong body work there from House again. He's on the bottom of that pack. So Richmond and Port Melbourne will be next Saturday afternoon here at North Port on 7 VFL footy. The Williamstown versus the winner of this game will be Sunday. And then the grand final the following Sunday, September 22 at Icon Park. All coming away live and free on 7 VFL Finals footy and 7+.
Gribble the tackle. Umpire Paul Rebashini won't pay the free kick in his favour, and a relieved breath from Liam McKenna not to be penalised. Tom Gribble, 11 touches so far. Bennett tossed out of it by his opposing ruckman in Bowman. It's so hard here, Brownie, for Werribee to turn that scoring tap back on. As we watch James Kelly, Bombers assistant, looking on. They haven't kicked a goal since Jake Riccardi, 29 minutes into the first.
Yeah, they need to just find an avenue to goal. The defenders from Essendon have been terrific. They've got their matchups exactly how they want. Matty D's down there. Ridley, Zerk Thatcher's done a great job.
Mark Williams has repositioned himself to the bench. A significant move to perhaps change the tactics. Myers getting busy. Off to Lant, arch the back, kicks for territory. It looks to be advantage Werribee here, but Houlihan pushed Spencer out of the way. Off to Bagley, pushes off Spencer. Inboard for Union, gets a little opportunity. Huge smother Sotomarco. A big play from the Tigers' experience.
Sensational work from the captain then. Danny Union was just about to load up from outside 50, and Sotomarco diving across the screen. Brilliant work.
It's the desperation that's required in a sudden death final. Here's Hansen again. Slightly pushed off his kick. Didn't get full penetration. Gribble slapped out by Henderson in the De Clay's direction. Lost his footing. Long, De Clay's got a hand on it. Contesting the ball again was Hansen, and this game's changed from being an inside to more of an outside game. And as we looked at earlier, here's the inside numbers, Brownie. Werribee with the advantage on the inside. Much better at hard gets and clearances than Essendon, but it's the Bombers that have the advantage if they can get it out into open space.
And we've already seen that they're linking up through the corridor, getting some run and carry, which was impossible to do in the first half due to the conditions.
Number one in the comp for uncontested possessions and uncontested marks. Here's Begley onto the left boot, bends it goalward, it's offline. Minor score.
First behind of the afternoon for Josh Begley, 13-9 for the season. Here's Mark Williams, coming up towards 15 years since he led, of course, Port Adelaide to their sole AFL premiership. Sotomarco with the play on. Werribee trying to move it quickly here. McFarlane gathered, had Gribble on the outside, sends it further afield, D in the right spot.
He's made a career out of doing that, Matty D. And this is where Werribee just need to work a little bit harder. In the first half, that kick was just going long down the line. We all knew where it was going. Now with the dry footy, Essendon just starting to chip it around a bit, change angles.
So Tynan composed for Myers, who's had 16 touches, but the Bombers retreating here. Ridley forced back. See Myers pointing, just get it towards me or the boundary. Myers stays down, makes a contest on House. Tynan could gather, bring it inboard for McKenna. Kept the hands free. Myers, almost a little handball drill here for the Bombers. Tynan meets Bagley, and there's some connection here from the Bombers. Margin at 12, which in the context of this game is a big lead. His kick perhaps shifts a bit on the breeze. Clark there to crumb the Minot ball. Chip it inside 50. Jock trap behind. It works its way to Union. He's waiting to get a moment. Spencer, iffy handball. Pinnock sees it to the line.
You just feel that Werribee are just hanging on at the moment. Essendon being much more polished in the second half, dominating the inside 50s, starting to get the game on their terms.
Tyson Heppel, Essendon AFL captain, watching his brother, Aaron, the VFL captain. Over the back for Aylett, just nudged off his kick, drags it to the pocket and out of bounds on the full. So Lauren Arnell, Mark Williams now down on the bench. It is only a 2-goal game. It's not time to panic yet.
Oh, he's kicked that on the full.
Has that come inside at all, though? That's the question. That's what they've got to work out. If it hasn't come back into the field of play, it's a throw-in where the kick was taken. And that's what's going to happen. So you don't get another kick, Dan. You don't get another kick.
This never came back.
Consider yourself lucky. We need to lose the box.
That's on my post.
I've never actually seen that.
Never went inside the field of play, so he shouldn't have got another kick. That should be a throw-in where Dan Nielsen took the kick. Anyway, play on the call now.
Lucks of fortune for the Tigers, and they might rush it all the way. Kemp sends it deep to Clace.
Eye contact. Brendan.
He put the hands out, perhaps when he didn't need to there to Clace.
Yep.
Zerk Thatcher can relieve, and Mark Williams looks ready to test out the durability of the Perspex on the interchange bench. Zerk Thatcher's kick will again drop. Tynan hands to it. Heppel, great hands in close for Bowman. Hartley works it forward. The fist from Hebron on Aylett. He'll receive it back from Clark. Give it to Clayton. Works it inboard for Brew, who loads up on his left. They need a mark here, the Tigers. DeClace again went for the hands. Overrunning at Kemp.
Holding. Werribee.
Oh, big call here. Jake Riccardi will get the free for a hold against Jock.
2 metres. That's
Riccardi,
right.
who kicked 2 goals in the opening term, has been unsighted since. Gets his moment right here in the marking contest. You can see the arms wrapped around, and
There's a pull on the
haven't
jumper
seen it yet.
ever so slightly. So Jake Riccardi, 37 goals for the season. They've got the luxury of playing this man as their 23rd player this afternoon. Takes advantage, a big coast-to-coast play. I reckon, yeah, that bit and that, yeah. Yeah, beautiful. You talk through it.
have you ever seen? I've never seen it
happened
before.
in an AFL game that I called at Marvel
And it's
a month ago.
definitely a throw-in.
Yeah, if it never comes back into the field of play, it's a throw-in from where the guy kicks it.
So in the
Because it can't be out on the full if it doesn't come back into play.
Yeah.
So that didn't come back into play, and if it did, it was out on the full. Can't be another kick. So let's have a look at this kick. Did it come back into the field of play? At no stage. So that should have been a throw-in where Dan Nielsen was kicking. So a bit of good fortune there for Werribee. Then it went down the other end, Brownie. What'd you make of this?
Yeah, well, this is the marking contest that the infringement was made, and I can't see a free kick at any stage there. So double bit of good fortune for Werribee.
And it's back to a goal the difference in the semi-final. Heppel bounces it inside 50. Ricochets back out. Clark put his head over it. Hansen went hunting illegally. So a chance for the Bombers to respond and respond quickly. Clark thought about the give-off to Hartley, who could just about go the journey from there. Instead, he'll pop it up towards the top of the square. Big fly in the middle of that pack. To ground, McKenna wrapped up by Hebron.
All of a sudden, this game's got a lot more life to it. The conditions have dried up. That second term was just stoppage after stoppage. We're seeing some good free-flowing ball movement at the moment in this third quarter.
2 different games now that the weather's changed. There's a little bit of drizzle around. Here's Begley. Quick snap, and the Bombers get it back.
Who would have thought a fridge would be useful on a cold day?
Go with it.
No.
They call him the fridge. It's more like a freezer today.
And he's been ice cold the last couple of weeks. He's had 9 touches today, only 3 last week.
Begley very quiet last week in the qualifying final, and that's his moment from the stoppage. He's a noted goal kicker, and you just can't afford to give him time and space.
So Clark and Hartley to go at it. Just works it towards Barlow. What can the Tigers find now? House, Hansen, enormous third quarter so far. Brew dumped as he kicked. Zerk Thatcher went to meet it. Riccardi stayed at the back. Wants Munro. Can only see it to the line. Let's head boundary side to Lauren Arnell.
The rain is tempted to come back here, but still relatively dry conditions, especially compared to that first half. Mark Williams, as we said, is on the bench and reminding his players how important this next goal is.
The emphasis on relatively dry. Plenty of rain since quarter time. Hartley and Clark. Clark got the hand to it through a couple of sets of legs. So a huge few minutes coming up here. Margin at 12 in favour of the Bombers. Werribee led this one by 11 at quarter time. Essendon kicked 4 unanswered goals to establish this lead. Riccardi with his third. Begley answering back for the Bombers.
Both engaged, play on.
Works its way forward. Henderson stopped on the line.
Clear out.
Looked to be a certain goal.
Hold there.
Quick kick in, finds its way to Clark, and that's a dangerous one to a 2-on-1. Riccardi stood tall to Clace, tries to get it to Riccardi and out, and Jack Henderson running into an open goal. Let's take another look. Tynan with the desperate effort. Brilliant from Josh Tynan.
Fingernail. Sometimes that's all it takes. You think you're out of the contest, but you just lunge and dive.
He's sure on Nick Rewalt.
That was yeah, a great smother.
Pinnock lays the tackle on Noonan, comes flying out into the face of Clark and then back into the congestion again. So margin at 11 points, 25 minutes gone, third term. Loz, the breeze. Is there still a breeze around?
Yeah, it's not impacting the game hugely, I don't think, Jace. It's we can see the trees moving behind the end that Werribee's kicking to, but I don't think it's really impacting the way that Essendon are trying to move the footy. And from here, they can get really dangerous. That kick mark that they like to play, it's opened up in this quarter.
Hartley has it at half-back.
For a guy that doesn't play in the ruck too much, his ruck craft's actually pretty good.
Kicks it long down the line. Begley, the big fly. Jock timed it better and took the mark. He launches it inside 50. Hocking worked off the line of it by Spencer. Clayton thumps it over the fence. Pressured kick there from Josh Clayton.
He must have been disorientated because at that angle, if you're trying to kick the ball, it's only going one way, and that's out of bounds on the full.
Jock receives the resultant free kick. 70 from goal. He puts it inside 50 again. Noonan comes across the front of the Minot lead. Houlihan at the back, nowhere to go. 26.5 minute mark of the third term. The Bombers by 11 points. Sudden death, semi-final football on 7 VFL.
Bruin Clark, through comes Noonan.
Knock down the tackle.
Land.
Play on.
Spun by McFarlane, who then receives the ball.
He's starting to look a little bit menacing. Danny Noonan around
Knocked out the tackle.
that forward 50. He's been relatively well held this afternoon, but he's getting his hands on it.
And see the Bomber forwards screaming for their preferred structure here. Barlow inserts himself into the contest. McFarlane to the outside, big ball here. Clayton v Long. The contest is neutralised. Jake Long on screen. 81st VFL game, kicked a goal in the second quarter. What can the Bombers produce to maybe extend this to a game-high margin? Heppel tries to drive his way free, and the security guard that is Dom Brew having none of it. Another day, it's been a strong one in the tackling affairs for Dom Brew. 9 so far, season average of 10. Clark flipped it to Clayton. They just can't find that connection. Myers flips it forward. It'll work its way to Heppel. It just skidded away from him. Off the ground went Lant. That was clever. Forward for Hocking. Gathers for Begley. And that is the epitome of off the side of the boot. It might work okay. Houlihan sneaks free. Keeps it low. And it was almost sheer force of will that nearly put that through for a goal.
That did everything. It dipped. Look at it dip here right on the goal line. And
It was like reverse swing with an old cricket ball.
mine, it nearly got a toe to it.
Pinnock just there on the line to stop.
You handball.
Plate receives from Hansen. Now to Pinnock. Riccardi takes on Jock, affected the handball. Clayton went to ground. Now the Bombers have got the numbers. Long just gets rid of it in time as Henderson closed to half forward. Mark taken by McFarlane. He gets it and goes. Kick to the middle of the ground. Clark did well. Angus Clark gives it off. Gribble's got to be quick, and he is. Now to Clayton. Werribee looking to build here. They trail by 2 goals. They find Barlow at half forward. He wheels and goes, delivers to the corridor. A big pack of players fly from all sides. It'll spill to Bagley at the back. Breaks a tackle, hoists it high, and the wind's going to take that out. And a chance for Michael Barlow to set up again as Werribee look to halve this deficit late in the 3rd term. 20th touch coming up for Michael Barlow. High ball, back into the corridor. Riccardi at the front, great vertical leap, couldn't hang on. Spills to the back for Kemp. He's going no further.
He got a really good look at this. Riccardi got a little bit of separation from Hartley and nearly took a big, strong pack mark.
2-3 to 1-2 in the quarter in favour of the Bombers. Mine it just bobbled and he got a fist to it despite the Maishman tackle. Union down towards Lant. Safe chest mark.
Been impressive, hasn't he, Dylan Lant, the last few weeks? Played some really good football.
Yeah, he's done some really smart things with ball in hand this afternoon.
Bombers' 23rd man, his 11th game of the season. Kicked goals his last 5 VFL matches. That comes off the side of the boot. And safe set of mitts on Ryan Hebron, who goes corridor. This is aggressive here from the Tigers. Maluel through Long, not through Aylett. Punished.
Holding the ball. Essendon.
Jake Long, he's played here.
Final term, cutthroat second semi-final. Essendon lead it by 12 points. Can Werribee get that first goal?
Bennett tried with the tap, and it is Brew who gets hands to it and forces his way forward. Tapped by Henderson. He's got McNeese for company. They'll take more territory. That's a mini win for the Tigers.
Lauren Arnell, you're in the Essendon camp. What was the message from Dan Jordan?
It was also calm and measured from Dan Jordan. He was asking for the, as you'd expect, effort and intensity, continue to surge the footy, and they've also noticed that Werribee is starting to go through the corridor and not as wide as they were earlier in the game. So protect the corridor, surge the footy. I think the wind's picked up here as well, guys, so that will definitely favour Essendon's end.
Front on contact.
Bagley got a clearing ball. Nielsen receives the free. Do see, as Lauren mentioned, that kick just hung on its way through to Maishman. He chipped short. Hansen, Brew, a second touch, a better touch. DeClace tries to work his way forward off the ground again, Riccardi. And somehow that curls its way back into play. Ridley clears it for the Bombers. Sotomarco meets it full-chested. His momentum nearly took him out. Brilliant play, recovery and kick to Barlow.
Ridley would have been better off to let that go through for a behind because he kicked the ball blindly out of the defensive 50, but all the numbers were with Ridley, and the captain Sotomarco, just the composure, even slipping to get back to his feet, lower his eyes and hit up Michael Barlow.
I'm not sure if the momentum of that ball was ever going to get across the line, so Ridley had a decision to make. Michael Barlow, 7-9 for the season. On his return to Churnside Park, can't shape this home. Who's at the fall? Munro off the ground. Outstanding from Kemp.
There's the first goal.
Now, the free kick was paid in the goal square too for a tackle.
Right, so it was just a
It was
was it?
advantage soccer off the ground from Kemp, but it was going to be a goal no matter what.
Yep, Brew got a couple of touches, got it out of the middle. They got the first goal, and now the energy and excitement.
The Barlow kick fell short. That was the free kick anyway for tackle without possession of the ball, and Kemp immediately took advantage. They were going to get a goal irrespective, but so important for Werribee's belief to kick the first in the last term.
Now the Bombers to respond. It's a goal the difference. Exactly how Mark Williams wanted it. He looked at Don Brew, said, you get out of the middle to start with. He did that. We get the first goal. They've done that. Now give me some energy and excitement. All going to plan for Werribee. Now the Bombers to respond. Hartley down to Heppel inside 50 and Nielsen stands in the way. He goes looking for Manuel. He's got to stand and wait. Good effort coming over the top from Laguda.
Yeah, really good effort. Laguda, that ball just sat up a little bit too much on Manuel, and Laguda cuts across, spoils the footy. But Nielsen's been important in this last term, taking a couple of intercept marks.
It's been an entertaining second semi-final so far. Still got half an hour to look forward to. Bennett over the top. Sotomarco. Kemp couldn't control it. Hartley socketed off the ground through traffic. It gets socket back the other way. Brew dribbles it forward. Laguda gathers and handballs in one motion. Manuel versus Jock. Coming in to help was Ridley. He's almost run down by Munro. Throws it on the boot. It skids to the pocket and out.
No one wanted to pick the ball up there at that stage. It was a pinball machine.
So Essendon looking to return to the prelim final. They were done by Casey last year. Werribee trying to make their first prelim since 2013 when they were stopped by the eventual Premier Box Hill. Brew another clearance. It stops on its point. Smacked forward by D.
I'll tell you what will be interesting. If Werribee can kick the next one and tie the scores up, those mental demons of last week might actually come back. Some players might go back into their shells and think, not again.
Werribee haven't led since Bruno Laguda put the Bombers in front 24 minutes into the second. He's sent chasing Henderson here. Foot race, not a lot in the front half. De Clace has got some wheels. He gets a bounce to meet. He needs to tie it up right here, right now.
Really smart football just to kick the ball to space because they knew they had De Clace. So I rhymed then, I didn't even try. I'm going to say to grass. Great football then, counter-attack off the half-back line. Fantastic kick to grass because they knew they had one of the quickest guys on the field, and that was De Clace.
Who had the pace over the top, they kicked to space. They didn't give up the chase, but it was De Clace. Kicks his second, and scores are level. Myers wraps up a big tackle on Brew. Gives him a taste of his own medicine. Scores a level. 5.5 minutes, 5 3/4 now in the final term. Ridley's kick, up and under. Aylett couldn't control it. They come thundering in from all sides. Ball in dispute. Brew puts his head over it. Ridley lays a tackle. It's ushered forward. Manuel soccers off the ground. De Clace goes again. Kemp goes looking for it. Socced by McNeese. Picked up by Gribble. He snaps goalward. And Werribee are in front.
Well, every ball so important now. 50-50 contests are just absolutely crucial. You've got to keep your head over the footy.
Our 7th lead change of the afternoon. Strap yourselves in. We've got a classic.
Nielsen again.
He's coming up big, the former Roo.
Winning another 50-50 contest.
Kick smothered. Composure required. Hansen off the hand of Henderson to Tynan. He just bombs it out of there, but they've set up camp here, the Werribee defence. This time, it's Coughlin who shapes and then turns left, and there's suddenly some space for the Tigers. Bennett off to Gribble, wants options. Manuel through his hands. McNeese couldn't gather either. But the game being played in Werribee's half.
Lauren Arnell, if you're Dan Jordan, what are you doing now from Essendon's situation? Suddenly the game's out of their control.
Well, what they need to do is reassert control just by doing what they do best, is repossess the footy, find the kick mark and settle down, because they're just giving it back to the Werribee defenders.
And again, happens again. Hebron's kick to space, to Clace. Neat hands.
It's smart football. He's coming out of the goal square. He's quick. Just put the ball out in front of him and let him do the rest. And he kicked the goal that brought scores level, and that was a really nice touch, just out in front to Clay, strong hands, and he goes back and gets his opportunity to kick his third for the afternoon.
He's a finisher. 2012 for the season, 40-22 in his VFL career that started as a Northern Blue. Right now, he's very much a Werribee Tiger.
He hit that perfectly. The wind just didn't bring it back enough. Looked good off the boot.
He's the X factor. Last week played mainly in defence, had 16 possessions, 8 marks. Today he spent time at both ends of the ground. So right now the Bombers, as Lauren Arnell said, need to get back in control. First they've got to stabilise this situation. Bit of time in possession. Tynan, here's to Clace again. He'll get it and go and deliver inside 50. Clayton fell over at just the wrong moment. Might open the door here for Zerk Thatcher. Throws it on the boot. Can they get through that yellow wall? Coming through was Lant. Sotomarco runs in at Aylett. He's taken down. And one of the real strengths of Werribee is their intercept marking and cross half back. So as the conditions have dried, that element of the game has come to Werribee's favour.
Yeah, and de Clace, smart playing on, lowered his eyes, hit up Clayton, who just fell over at the wrong time, and another shot at goal goes begging.
Cup check time for the Bombers. Guccione's kick, the bare minimum distance, finds Bowman. He gets it and goes off to Bagley. Now it's the Bombers who need a goal to get some energy and excitement. Over the back, Hocking's lurking. Will it get there? It will. He snaps it over his shoulder. McKenna goes back. McFarlane did well. Fists it through for a minor score.
He's had to kill that football, Dane McFarlane, and he did. Gives Werribee a chance to set up here. Ball back in the hands of Coughlin.
He took plenty of time to check what the best option was. He goes Normgos stand side, Tynan. Couldn't bring it with him. Brew, enormous in this final term so far, as has Barlow been. Clever for Munro.
That's brilliant football.
And suddenly some of these Werribee players are bobbing up. Henderson's one of them. He marks and has to put the handbrake on around Ridley, but can keep it moving. And somehow in space, Gribble.
You've got to take that back to Dom Brew, who just willed that ball out of the contest, got the hands to Mickey Barlow, who threw it on the boot, and the Fords, they played in front. That whole thing comes back to Dom Brew just willing himself into that contest.
Barlow 5 touches, Brew 4 in this final term that is barely 10 minutes old.
They're the 50-50 balls that can change the passages of the play and ultimately the game.
He's had a brilliant season, Gribble, and clever play. Loose checking from the Bombers, dropping their guard. Maishman another look.
You can't afford to switch off at any level of football in the defensive 50. A lot of Essendon players just assuming the shot on goal was going to take place. They were guarding grass and not the direct opponent.
A wave of momentum back the way of the Tigers suddenly. Maishman's kicked 11 goals for the season. They can push it to the right-hand side. So de Clace hits the post. Maishman misses one. Some gettable opportunities go begging.
Absolutely. When you get them in the last quarter of a semi-final, you've got to make the most of those opportunities.
Bombers on the back foot. McNeese to Zerk Thatcher. Looking for a bit of movement. It's all become a bit static.
Dangerous kick.
Really dangerous. Laguda went up. It spills to Joel Bennett. It's been a quiet day. Spirals it only as far as McNeish. McNeese, rather, who goes short and finds Aylett.
No 15, player!
McKenna, no 15, so Barlow's going to try and shut him down. Another dangerous kick into the corridor. Munro goes down. Umpire says play on. Zerk Thatcher with his body over the football. And suddenly it seems like a house brick for the Bombers as they try to get it outside 50.
They've just lost their composure. They've just completely lost their composure at the moment. The nerves are kicking in.
And that's just the scarring of last week in the last quarter when they got mown down.
Just a lack of game awareness. You don't want to be coming back in board, kicking to a 50-50 in the corridor.
Bombers need to settle. They're still right in this game. Tynan in over the top of it. Loz, this is when your senior players need to lift their voice and just start to control things. Take it from me, she couldn't agree more. Tap comes down. Here's McKenna. Feeds it out. Clark flips it over the top. Here's Clayton, stands in the Bagley tackle. Gribble, spun, handball inboard. McNeice has been busy. Begley to Sockers it out. Can they get on the end of this? A bad bounce for Hartley. McFarlane to tidy it up at the back. Feeds Coughlin. Coughlin tumbles a kick. This is dangerous. Can Laguda take it cleanly? He's got Bennett for company, who works him off the line of the football. Clayton wins it and gets it to Sotomaco,
whose kicks off the line for House. He's got a metre of separation on Zirk Thatcher. Tries to bundle him to the line. Better still, it stays in for Laguda. His kick out across the pickets.
Well, some skill errors creeping in for both sides as the pressure ramps up. It's Werribee just running across the ground a little bit better at the moment, outnumbering Essendon.
These two teams have got quite the history in recent times. Close matches, some classic games that have been played out at Avalon Airport Oval. This one on neutral territory.
They've had some close games in the past.
Got to be enjoying this one here on 7 VFL. Laguda keeps it low. Hartley, enormous from Nielsen. The crumb from Bagley. Given time, Clark given none. Gives it to Hartley. Gets full purchase on a high kick. Through the hands of Coughlin, the Bombers lurk at ground level. Minot amongst them, nearly had his legs taken out. Unan, when's his moment coming? Begley, Clayton. Begley again, cannot gather, dragged it in, won't be penalised. Stock take almost halfway through this final term. Werribee back in front thanks to 2 goals in the early stages of this final quarter.
Guys, straight over on the full's a free kick.
Winner progresses to face Williamstown in the preliminary final. Loser is eliminated. Clark gets the tap. Here's Dylan Clark on the end of it, tries to find Aylett. He's run down from behind by Dom Brew. Umpire says throw it in.
Straight up, guys. Thank you.
As a player, you just love these close games. This is what really tests you as a player. Big final, last quarter, game still on the line.
Both engaged. Play on.
Bowman is Barlow, dispossessed. Laguda pokes it through some traffic. Skidding ball inside 50, coming out to meet it was Houlihan. Spencer socketed it, McFarlane likewise. Hebron then off the deck as well. Coming across to meet it is Henderson. Good strong body work from McNeice.
Smart football from Werribee. Not trying to overpossess it. The soccer off the ground, the paddle up the line. Just take ground, take distance. Get it out of your defensive 50 and reload.
We cross the 15-minute mark of the final term. Bowman against Clark. They lock up. Pitches in front. Gribble tackled immediately by Aylett. Going nowhere.
Thanks, guys. Hold that meter, please.
Will it be a moment of individual brilliance that opens up this game? Can one team just grind it out? Clark to Gribble. On the right boot towards half forward. Zirk Thatcher did really well. He looked to be out of position, got a hand on it, which sat it up nicely for Long. Long can give it to Bagley. Now the Bombers can potentially attack through the middle. Kick needed to be good, and it was. He finds Houlihan.
This will be just his 4th touch of the afternoon. It's a hand pass for Bagley. He's got an option over the top. He goes there. It hangs for Laguda. He had time. His kick's poor. A scrubby ball. What can Gribble do with it? He's bundled out of it. McFarlane had his pocket picked. Little kick forward, Minot. Oh, great mark, Sotomaco. A big win against Unan.
And they've just found a way to win or halve so many contests in this last quarter. Nielsen, Sotomaco.
Bombers will lock it in, though. That's a big stop. Essendon fans clap accordingly for Bruno Laguda, who's been really strong today. Managed to hit the scoreboard, 12 possessions, get some big defensive plays as well, as Dan Jordan coaching from the bench.
Essendon supporters must be sick of this. Last quarter's close games.
VFL finals. There have been plenty, haven't there, over the years? They've had some rippers.
They're not meant to be like this all the time.
Yeah, you've got your money's worth if you're an Essendon VFL supporter. In recent years, Zirk Thatcher presents, couldn't gather. There's only a one-on-one matchup in Werribee's half if they can extract this here. Hansen, he was stripped. Bowman almost, Maishman quickly. Ball flies high from Bennett. There is that contest. Riccardi over the top. Oh, the Tigers, the door swings wide open right now. Clayton's got Gribble forward, he'll get it there.
Again, it was Werribee just winning the 50-50 contest. Fantastic effort in the air from Riccardi just to crash the pack. Gribble spat forward.
He's getting off the chain, Brownie. Is that a concern for Essendon at the moment? This is going to be his 6th touch for the quarter.
He's an elite runner and he's an experienced footballer. You can't tag a man out of the game forever, and he's just working himself into the ground. Tom Gribble identified nice and early that they were going to win that ball. took off into the forward 50, and it was a nice bit of vision from Clayton to find him.
The Kemp, Crum and handball really created something. 9-8 for the season for Gribble. No man's had more possessions in the competition than he.
Another missed opportunity. We saw this yesterday with Footscray missing shots on goal. 3 occasions Werribee could have extended this lead, and they've missed them all.
Ridley goes long, straight up the middle of Adcon Stadium here at North Port. That's a good, strong mark taken by Coughlin. He's done some fine work this afternoon. Just about every player on the ground in front of him. Swings it wide. Nice kick to Pinnock.
Essendon forwards just need to find a way to stay in the contest and bring that ball to ground, because at the moment they're getting outmarked.
Dylan Clark might have been taken high in the marking contest. It spills out to Darcy Bennett. Sotomaco swats away a tackle, delivers it back inside 50 to Clace there. Coming in over the top was Riccardi. House at ground level, tries to get the hands free, can't do so. Ridley wrapped up by Joel Bennett. Coming through, good strong tackle there from House. Received by Guccione, hacks the kick, but once again, Werribee built the wall.
What are the mark numbers, Jace, for this quarter? Because every time Essendon have come out of the back 50, it's gone straight to Werribee.
17-6 in favour of the Tigers.
Marks off opposition kick, 7-1 Werribee's way. They put it to the teeth of 50. Bowman squeezes the kick. Sotomaco wearing contact everywhere. Stopped in his tracks by Union. So the intercept marks for the day are 21-7 the way of Werribee. They've been absolutely brilliant. It's Lauren Arnell at boundary side in a moment with a word on the atmosphere as Barlow gets it to Gribble. His kick again, a forward 50 entry under it, Riccardi at the full. Kemp sandwiched. Riccardi put it in reverse. Jock gathered, tackled strongly.
I've loved the game of Riccardi. He's kicked 3, but he just competes. He brought that to ground. He followed it up with a strong tackle to lock the ball in.
20 seconds away from time on. Begley's kick ricochets back to Bowman. Clark afforded no space. Lauren Arnell, it's a noisy Norm Goss stand.
Oh, the Norm Goss stand is packed full, but it feels like there's at least as much noise coming from particularly the Werribee bench. There's huge excitement down here, and everyone just feels a little bit nervous at this point.
Maishman spun out of a tackle, but his kick was smothered by Clark, who got it to Heppel. This has been the issue for the Bombers, this connection across the middle, across half forward. Hocking keeps it alive, onto his left. Good effort from Coughlin, it was touched off the boot. Hebron did well to not let that ball get behind him. Here's Heppel, throws it on his boot. Union through his hands. Bagley at the back, it skids away and out.
Those little half chances. There's going to play some luck involved. The kick could have gone anywhere. It fell to Danny Union and he couldn't quite stick the catch.
Just got to him a little bit quicker than he expected. Broke through the hands. So can the Bombers manufacture something here? Put themselves back in front. Bowman in the ruck against Darcy Bennett. Ricochets off Lant. Union in on the bottom of that pack. And that ball's not coming out. So once again, the arm wrestle as Heppel gets back to his feet. Werribee looking to shut this down. Bombers looking to create something. Union on the move. Bowman out of the ruck. It was a good effort, but just misses left.
Smart play by Bowman.
And it's a 2-point game as we tick over 21 minutes. Sudden death semi-final football on 7 VFL.
Sotomaco. Jock's under this. Riccardi at least made the contest. Gribble buries the head. Stripped by Heppel. Flicked a boot at it. The Bombers wanted us in danger. It works to Anderson to Riccardi with a dish. Zerk Thatcher gathers, elects to handball rather than kick. Myers, Tynan now does elect to put it on the boot. Well done, Gribble, to slide back and be the defensive core.
He's had a huge quarter, doing it at both ends.
He said he'd been quiet. 8 touches halfway through the second. This will be his 21st of the afternoon. He's going to flirt with the line. Henderson, the flyer, the fist from Tynan. And the benches are like Flinders Street at 5 p.m. at the moment, Lauren.
Well, we've seen the footy's been stuck over that broadcast side for a little while now, so some key players on the bench for both sides. Hartley and Aylett sitting here for Essendon, and Maluel and Brew just waiting their turn to get on the ground.
Bowman at the front, got the tap. Maishman took it, but had one arm grabbed straight away. Begley can't get rid of Barlow. Play on the call.
Great tackle.
Super tackle. Not a lot of prior opportunity there for Begley. Tried to bust through, couldn't do so.
It's just a real leader's tackle, Michael Barlow, understanding how important every single stoppage is.
Hugs the line too much. Out of bounds on the full.
They're really poor too from Nicky Barlow. That kick.
It's a 2-point game. Bombers just need to work their way through it. It's going to come back.
Can't afford to be making skill errors like that in tight games. You've gifted the ball straight back to David Myers,
who thumps it long on the breeze, which seems to have picked up. It's going to clear that contest, and we'll have another stoppage as Nick Coughlin looks for a free kick for having his arm held.
They might struggle to get Hartley and those guys back onto the ground because, as you can see, the footy is just being played on this side and will be for the next few minutes. So everyone's lining up. Can't get on the ground. This is when you want to be out there as a player.
23 1/4 minutes gone. Bowman the tap. Begley goes hunting it. Important little kick there from Barlow. Got it away from his reach. Myers grits his teeth, goes hard at the football against Gribble.
Mark Williams should be wanting Don Brew as well, who's stuck on the boundary. One of your most rugged little midfielders.
Is this the last remaining minutes in David Myers' career in the red and black? He's hoping not. Here's a chance for the Bombers. Jock will look to set it up. Can he hit a target? Union won't get there, and once again it's Nielsen in the way.
He has been absolutely sensational. Just came off his direct opponent, read it off the boot. Another intercept mark.
The wind has definitely picked up to the advantage of the Bombers here. They keep it in their half. A pensive Mark Williams looks on. Essendon, a year since they pinched one off Richmond in a semi-final. Nick Hine with that devastating run off half-back. James Stewart was the man to ice the contest. You feel like there's another twist in the tail in this semi-final. It's been a pulsating contest.
Yeah, there's certainly another goal left, depending on which side kicks it.
Clark, is that Pryor? It is. Hansen with the stopping tackle.
You just feel Werribee are shutting the game down. Where's the goal going to come from Essendon?
194 tackles between these two teams today. What a contest it's been. That's what Hansen has in front of him. Plenty of contest at the full. Bennett. Riccardi for his fourth. Can ice it? No. Sprays it. Bombers get the ball back in hand. Margin 3. Clock approaches 25. We've had just the 2 goals in this quarter.
And they've come straight up the middle and going to play on quickly.
Begley towards half forward. They just need a contest. Here's Nielsen. Heppel at ground level. Here's the chance. Houlihan. Jock can pop it over the top for the lead. Bombers in front. Nice finish under pressure.
I think he was going to Hocking.
Yeah. Either way, it was either going to be. Yeah. Geez, how's the miss from Riccardi now? 11-point swing.
Werribee have had their chances, haven't been able to kick truly, and Essendon go coast to coast from that Riccardi point. It came all the way down the middle of the ground and ended up with Jock, who I think was kicking the ball to Hocking, but he kicked accurately, and that's all that matters. Gives Essendon the lead.
2 goals for the season for Jock. What a time to kick the second one of them. He's on this footy and taken high.
Nice and hard and low. Big play.
Just goes wide. So 2 goals to 1 in the quarter. Plenty of stoppages. The trend of the day has been quarters north of 30 minutes. Ridley back for D. And Werribee have to round up and press up here, Campbell.
Yeah, you don't mind when you send them backwards.
D's kick's a little bit skinny. Jock's everywhere right now. Nielsen has been in the last quarter. McFarlane wrestled to the turf by Clark. Heppel tumbles the kick forward. Big Darcy Bennett gathers. He'll be forced to kick. It's not a bad effort either. 2 on 2. Werribee at the fall. McFarlane split off it. Heppel gathers on tired legs. Tumbles it forward. Union's had a quiet afternoon. He's stripped and gone.
Holding the ball. Got to play on quickly here. Get the ball straight to him.
Guys, let's go straight up.
Pinnock gets it and goes. Delivers inside 50. They need a mark. Bombers everywhere around this one. Well played by Begley. It was partly smothered off his boot. Chance for Pinnock. Couldn't control it. Ricochets towards Lant. Ricochets off Sotomarco. Hansen immediately taken down in a Well, a rib-rattling tackle.
It's a tough contest at the moment. That ball could have ricocheted anywhere. Essendon get the stoppage that they want.
Everything you want from a sudden death final. Both teams throwing everything at it. Heppel, he's taken down. Maishman gets the football, delivers it inside 50.
Essendon.
Holding.
Brandon, yours.
Bomber's way, goes to Zerk Thatcher.
Been a great battle, that one, all afternoon. Zerk Thatcher, Riccardi.
Another fantastic advertisement for the count-up clock. How long's left? Who knows? It's much better this way. So much more exciting. As Zerk Thatcher goes towards the wing. Bennett over the top of Bowman. He slaps it out.
Well, quarters went long in the first half because of so many stoppages. This quarter has been more free-flowing. The rain stopped and there haven't been too many stoppages, so we don't know, but it's not going to be a long quarter.
8 lead changes on the day. Darcy Bennett, Begley, air swing, Barlow over the top.
Oh, he's gone.
Holding the ball, dragged it in.
Yeah, and that's the right call. You can understand Heppel not wanting to cough the ball up.
Virtually every player on the ground in front of Michael Barlow.
No, reset. You have to stay behind.
Matt Hansen was trying to set the screen for Heppel.
Every Essendon player in the defensive 50. There's the siren.
Unbelievable. Simply unbelievable.